How's it going, guys? And welcome back to the Montpellier career mode. We're into the January transfer window, episode 21, and we have only got 2 games in today's episode. I decided to split this and just have a normal length episode, so only 2 games in this one, but we've got a bit of transfer business and a couple of little things. So you can see there we finally sold Badu. I got an offer on the 31st of December, and Swansea wanted him, and I was happy to accept any sort of fee there. We also released Thibault Tamas. He wasn't getting sold, and to be honest, his contract was up, and it just meant he'd be in the club if he got signed by somebody. So I was happy just to let him go. It was £36,000, something like that. Just paid him off and just said, go and find a club. You're not wanted here and we're not using you at the moment. So we got rid of him as well. We had a scout report, a couple of players left on loan, and overall we were just doing a little bit of squad management, moving some players in from the youth academy, having a look at the new youth reports that were coming in. Some really nice players in France there, you can see. One good player from Iceland and nobody from Egypt. So no Mo Salah, or future Mo Salah coming in at the moment. We got an offer for Gaetan Laborde as well. Arne Meyer was the offered player plus about £5 million, I think it was, or something close to that. And in the end I decided to reject it. Yeah, it was an interesting offer, just wasn't really... wasn't in my best interest to accept that. Gaetan Laborde, even though he's had a bit of a wobbly season, he's been a little bit inconsistent. He's still not been a player that we want to sell quite yet. Maybe next season, if a big offer comes in and we're not winning any trophies, we might have to look to possibly sell players on for the good of their careers. Who knows? But at the moment, not going to be selling players like Laborde or Delors, at least. Unless there's like a Barcelona offer or something like that, which I highly doubt we'll get one of them in this transfer window. We go in for the big signing of this transfer window. I got a suggestion in the comment section of Dennis Mann. I'd actually been looking at him in other career modes last year and even the previous year, I think, as well, when he was in the game. He's a player that I've always wanted to use, and I've never had an opportunity to sign him because he's either been too low rated or too just moved to the club, so couldn't sign him in time, and basically I just never had an opportunity to go and sign him, so I decided to go and pick him up, and he looks like a fantastic player. Right winger, but I will be converting him to a striker. It's going to take the whole season, I think 46 weeks or something like that, so maybe by the end of the season we will be able to see him in striker, but at the moment he's going to stay as a right winger as we train him over time, and hopefully he'll become a really, really good signing. My plan is to have him on the bench in most games. He'll start a few, but he'll be off the bench and making an impact. He's got a lot of pace and some decent finishing, so he looks like a really solid signing. So I'm really happy. Somebody reminded me that he actually existed. I was going to go and sign Gervinho, and in the end, I think that's probably a better signing for the future of the club. Yes, he's the same rating as Gervinho, but he can grow and probably take over for Laborde or Delors should they leave, or when they start to decline eventually, as Delors has hit the 30-year-old mark, and a little bit of a worry. He may start to decline a little bit. We don't know. I don't fully know how his rating will be affected, or maybe if he'll just decide to retire early. I've no idea, but that's me rambling on. We eventually went into a game here against newly promoted side Guingamp. We played them at the start of the season, and we played them to start off the second half of the season this time around, and they were the team that went ahead first. Actually, they had a couple of good chances, and from the corner that they received, just really good goal. No chance of us really dealing with that very well. Really poor, probably from our defenders, but in the end, a good headed goal and a nice corner goal from the AI. And you can see here we go ahead and respond pretty quickly as Yari Basharan, who was starting for Montpellier, who still had the little injury icon next to him. He could start, but I decided to not risk him. He wasn't fully match fit. We started Basharan, and what a decision that was. Goes ahead and scores in the very shortly after 26 minutes, and we go ahead and equalise. And it looked a little bit worrying for Guingamp at that point. They looked a little bit weak. We had another chance here. Delors cuts inside, and, well, poor defending, really. He was sold one way, Delors goes the other, and no chance for the goalkeeper there. Really nicely hit, and he goes ahead and adds to his goal tally for this season, making it something like, I think, it was 11 goals there, as you can see on screen. Good from the Algerian striker. And overall, after a slow start to the game, we looked like we were starting to get back into it and start looking like we were going to score some more goals. It wouldn't really be the case in this second half. We just couldn't really make the ball go anywhere near the goal after this point. Really, they had one chance here and we started to defend much better. Poor clearance, but in the end we do end up clearing it and getting rid of it. And to be honest, Wingomp defended quite well but couldn't attack as well, and they just ended up being a little bit weak in the attack. Sadly, I don't have the match stats. I completely messed up the recording for recording the match stats at the end of the game, but we did dominate pretty much most of that second half. Dominated possession, just didn't have too many opportunities in the attack, and overall I think it's a good win. We managed to win 2-1. A little bit of a nervy game towards the end. It was a chance because it was only a 1-goal lead. Maybe we just concede one mistake and we would drop 2 points in that game, but it wouldn't be the case, and we go ahead and win that. I also will say that was the first game we played on ultimate difficulty, and I'm actually glad I switched over to that. I think it's a much more exciting difficulty to play on. There's no sliders apart from the injuries that I've already shown you, so it will just be on legendary, basic legendary, and we'll see how far that goes. So far the games I've played, they've been much more difficult, and there's been more chances for both sides as well, so it's a nice balance to have, and I'm quite happy with how it is going. You'll see we did actually go ahead and accept an offer for Alexander Barbosa. Now, he was signed at the start of the first season of this career mode, as he was Argentinian, he had a real face, and he was a player I needed to sign for objectives, and also he was a left-footed centre-back that I wanted to bring in because we needed some more left-footed centre-backs, and I decided to accept the offer. I think it was around about 13 million, because when I looked at his stats from this season, you saw on the screen, they were relatively poor, only 8 appearances, and that was about it, not many clean sheets. And then when we look at his appearances last year, he only made 16 appearances in all competition, 1 goal, which was a pretty nice goal from a corner if I remember rightly. But he made mistakes in game sometimes, and he was a little bit clunky on the ball and never quite got to grips with using him. So in the end, I've decided to accept that offer, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully he goes and we get that money back, and maybe we can spend it on some scouts, improving the infrastructure of the team, or just maybe a young player that maybe we could bring in as well. But overall, I'm not too worried about cover in the centre-back role. As you can see, we did score a goal with Dennis Mann, first goal for the club. Love to see it on his first start as well in the cup, but it doesn't matter, we take those, and it's a really nice finish into the back of the net. Going back to Barbosa, I'm not worried about the depth in the squad. I'm actually perfectly happy with the amount of centre-backs we have. We've got 4 centre-backs that are all first team level. Fosu Mensah is the obvious rotation one. And then we've got 3 really good young players that can come in and make a difference, and we've got a number of players that can also play there if we desperately needed cover. But we don't seem to get too many injuries in this season, so I'm not massively worried about losing one decent player in that position with squad depth. He also wasn't happy about his game time as well, so that's my main reasoning behind selling it. If people think that's a mistake, that's fair enough, but I think the money we get for him is pretty good, and we should be able to at least invest in another player, maybe of a slightly lower rating that can just cover for him and accept a lower squad role. As you see in this game, it got much more interesting in the second half, I might just add. We were much more dominant in that first half, scoring 1 goal, we could have scored a few more, but the second half we conceded a penalty, could save from Horvath. He'd been keeping us in this game up to this point, and overall it was fantastic work from him. He had a really good game and did attempt to keep his clean sheet. We'd have to see at the end if he managed to keep it. Just a little point here, not 100% sure what VAR were talking about in their box, but that is absolutely disgraceful decision making there. He was 100% onside in my opinion. I don't know if his nipple was offside or something. I was quite annoyed at that, because there must be other occasions that I've just skipped through offside, where I've just gone, yeah, it's offside, and it's actually not been offside, it's been onside. So a little bit annoying there. Didn't matter though, as shortly after we concede, we don't concede. We get a penalty, decision go our way, and instead of missing it like the other opponent did down the other end, Antiste, the young lad, steps up, puts everybody else aside and says, no, I've got this, and puts it top bins. What a goal that was from him. A nice penalty. I'm pretty bad at penalties normally, so it's nice to see him getting on the score sheet and scoring a really nice penalty. And he also gets on the assist sheet as well, as he plays a nice ball in, lovely weighted ball into Zagrak's path, and he just decides to take that first time. He knows he's got the confidence to hit that first time. He scored a similar goal for his first goal this season as well, and a very nice ball into the back of the net. No chance for the keeper really, hit with a lot of power, and in the end that was pretty much the final nail in the coffin for Amiens. It would be some good saves from Horvath to come though, as he did make a good save there, keeping his clean sheet, and just at the end nearly conceding them for the fourth goal of the game, but luckily the defender was quickly off his line to go and get the ball and stop it from going over the line and conceding the fourth goal. That would have been an own goal. It would have been a bit of an embarrassing own goal to concede as well, but overall we go ahead and get the win. Nice clean sheet as well in the cup, and we can advance to the next stage. Dennis Mann picks up man of the match, and Antiste is close as well. Those two as a partnership played very well there. So maybe that is my backup partnership, Dennis Mann and Antiste, a quick and a slow player. Seemed to work quite well, and they played exceptionally well in that game. You can see here an interesting player conversation. I'm still seeing player conversations I've never seen before. Dennis Mann coming to me saying, "I've got all faith in you for playing me in striker," which is really nice to see. So that means there might be sometimes where players will come to you and say, "I'm not happy with being played in this role." So that's an interesting and a nice thing to see, that they've actually added some more player conversations this year. I was always worried that they get a little bit boring over time, a bit stale, you see the same ones, but this time it's not the case. But you can see the final little bit of business is going to be Lionel Caruso possibly going out on loan. You can see Minnesota United go ahead and accept, and he's been loaned out. That is going to spell the end of the episode though. Quite an action-packed filled episode, some players going out, and 2 games with 2 wins as well, which is always crucial, heading through to the next round of the Cup as well. So it's more games for us, but that shouldn't matter too much, as I think our players can pretty much handle that. But that is going to spell the end of the episode. Do hope you enjoyed watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you for the next episode of the Montpellier Career Mode very soon. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.